Hey, Brian Stoll, President of Crown Point Cabinetry. I want to take this opportunity to thank our friends at AIA Vermont for working with us over the years. I also want to take this opportunity to invite you to our amazing state-of-the-art facility in Claremont, New Hampshire. We have a gorgeous showroom. I promise you it's worth the trip.
The Stone Ledge project I really loved because of there's like a delicacy to it, I felt, in how it was placed on the site, its relationship to the site, the way that it took the place of an existing water pump shed.
It was one of those examples of something that was very elegant and a lovely design.
But the way the ceiling and the wall comes together is very elegant. And I think it's beautiful.
That image right there won me over a little bit on this one. I did absolutely love how that fireplace got framed so perfectly by that opening. But yes.
That is nice. Yeah. Because this is all about experience, and architecture is so many things, and that's why it's really hard for us to pick and actually be able to rank these. That's why it's hard for me anyway.
I think the outdoor spaces, really made an impact for me in terms of, I liked the way the volumes came together and sort of framed interesting views, created outdoor spaces of different scales and like different levels of exposure versus privacy. I liked the little stone wall there, the way that kind of broke up the use of the concrete and how that broke up that black color palette. They had accents of other colored woods. From a design standpoint, I just thought this one was really well thought out, put together. I liked the interior spaces that it made.
What I read from the mural house was lightness. I think that the dark color quality on the facade really contrasts this sort of levity or lightness that the building's attempting to make. I also read that it was responding to a lot of James Turrell's work, who works with light specifically. And some of the like skylights I thought were really interesting in their way of adapting that to the architecture.
I did think that this one had some pretty nice moments in it. I think the design composition fit well with the idea of being a spiritual space. I mean, I think they did some smart things with the way they used the light. It had some nice things going on.
I thought there were some nice views and some nice textures. There were a couple images with sort of all the textures together that I thought, like that I thought was kind of nice.
I think I really did like some of the photography, especially at dusk, where you were getting some of those windows expressed. I thought that looked really nice. It had a feeling to it that it belongs on the site. Like it, I thought it was really well integrated.
To me, I liked how it fit into the landscape. You know, it seems like for the mass of the building that it's broken down enough with different materials, planes, light, windows.
I think that the building is successful at feeling really well nested. It speaks to the landscape, the canopy of the tree and the sky really well. There's this like synthesis of all of those things through the architecture that I really appreciate.
And I actually thought that the final product, like I could see the direct path between those sketchy images and what they ended up with, which is nice. I'm always looking for that balance between a project that sort of respects and makes best use of the existing historic materials and respects that existing context while also reworking it in a way that keeps the building viable and usable. I thought that they did a good job of working within that existing kind of mid-century modern industrial building type of aesthetic to make something really lovely out of the kind of building that I feel like usually gets disregarded as, essentially junk. I thought they made some smart choices in terms of how they used some of the spaces that were available within that existing building and some of those features like the clear story windows, the open structure, to really make something that I think has a certain potential to be flexible, to change over time, to kind of continue the ability for this building to, subsist into the future. They haven't really locked it in a way that it can't change more.
And I felt it's one of those places that the community would fight to keep, and that it is open to anyone to be a part of it. I felt that it addressed a lot of the framework, and I thought it just made a tremendous asset out of something that would otherwise have been something that would have just been torn down. And I really appreciated they had the before and after pictures. I think that really helps to visualize just exactly what they had to work with and how they managed to transform it. They also got rid of a lot of impermeable paving, replaced it with landscaping and impermeable paving. So they also respected the environment in which it was set and tried to improve that as well. And in that inner courtyard with all of the live plants of bringing the outdoors in, I just thought I would be very happy to be there. It's very comfortable and engaging. I thought a lot of the detailing was wonderful.
I liked the care that this team took in crafting what I thought was a really good narrative around the development of this project. I feel like in terms of community impact, this is something that's actually looking to fulfill a need, work with some of the existing transportation infrastructure issues of that particular site and area. It's offering service to the community. Interesting and well thought out design that had some variation in materiality that actually made more sense than some of the others. Some of the others, I kind of felt like the materials were very mishmashed, and this seemed a little bit more intentional.
As a painter, I really appreciate the color that was used in this project and the kind of emotional reaction we have to color and the psychology of it, and the way the spaces are made for different constituencies and different uses, and how welcoming they are. It's light filled, but also the tactile nature of it, the changes in materials that give it a great deal of interest and really invite you in.
They've got louvers for sun shading. It's got giant solar array hat on it, which is awesome. People can see that the building is doing things better than buildings around it.
And I thought its relationship to the community and the engagement with the community and the service that it provides, all of that to me really elevated this project significantly.
The story is just really compelling. And to me, it's just sort of a a manifestation of how I think architectural education should work, where you have a group of students that are looking at something that's very mission driven, and then figuring out how to apply architectural knowledge to help solve a larger community and societal problem. And I also think that they put together fairly elegant architecture out of that. But for me, the story and just what this project represents was huge in my decision.
In addition to the super high energy efficiency, but also because I deal with a lot of homelessness issues myself, I have a certain passion for finding some solutions, but then also the integration of the students in the whole process I thought was so commendable.
A lot of the design principles or the criteria are really tall orders, with community positively impacting future occupants in the larger community. The fur economy adds value for owners, occupants, community, and planet, regardless of project size and budget. Think about like scale with this project and how it is so appropriate for the people who would be occupying the space. It isn't excessive. It feels authentic. And that's, I think that's why I rated it as high as I did.
You know, just thinking about what these students accomplished, yeah, I really feel like this is worthy of pretty high recognition.
I really liked this project. I thought, especially the exterior, I think, and there's some nice moments like this on the interior. It actually seems quite small when you really look at that sort of living room, kitchen area, and then you're kind of looking back at the stairs like, oh, well, that's a nice modest size. Like the porch is very big, but it's not super expansive on the interior, but has these nice window corners. So I appreciated that. I think the materials are spot on. They're really simple and they seem appropriate for the landscape. And I like the contrast of the finish of those materials. It really breaks down the scale because it's tall, even though it doesn't have a big footprint. It is quite tall. But I think that overall it seemed like a nice project, a nice space, good quality of light, different kinds of light because of the sort of slats on the sort of porch area. And then these big windows I thought were nice, just simple details, and the framing of the wall openings with wood. The windows are the right color, black, as a contrast to the natural finish of the wood around it.
The Sugar Bush House, I read time as a sort of fundamental principle. I really liked how the horizontal screen contrasted with the verticality of the forest that it's set in. And then this quality of like understanding that in this space, everything, especially with the way that the windows are placed, everything will be shifting constantly, and time is always, recognized, I think. And I feel like they did a really good job of it being intentional about the window placements on the interior and the screen on the exterior to sort of communicate this passage of time. It felt really effective to me.
I felt it was very responsive to the site. There's a great deal of connection to the site, the seasons. There's lots of layering. I felt it was a very healthy environment, was one of the things that the wellness aspect to it. I thought that they did definitely address energy and resources and ecology on this one.
I found the design of it to be really elegant. I liked the way they handled the interiors. I liked that there was some variety of textures and it wasn't all white or all wood. I liked the way they used the space. And in general, especially from the exterior, I really liked the way they used the forms and And the window placement, I think, also was really compelling.
To me, it seemed like it hit a lot of the framework, mostly probably in their discussion and not necessarily visible from the photographs. But I had indicated it had like 6 of the check boxes, but I also, from a design standpoint, this was also a favorite of mine for a number of different reasons.
It's nice that it's not all wood and it's not all white. Sometimes there's a white barn door instead of a wood barn door, and the wood slot ceilings, the acoustical ceiling stopping in some place is nice. It makes it very crisp. The materials inside, like the flooring, that's really nice.
You can clearly see what was original about this building. I think that they did an amazing job of sort of preserving that original Victorian character. And they did a good job also in this inside and out. When they got to the areas that were not original, that's where they started to take a little bit more of a design license in terms of, modernizing it, but doing so in a very careful way. It really kind of creates a lovely cohesive whole. But then on the inside, I really liked the way that they use that also as an opportunity to draw a line between the interior aesthetics of the original and the new. And I also liked their mission of, providing a space where creative types of all scales, groups, individuals can kind of come and have a place to, work on their craft.
The before and afters are really remarkable. It still looks like a beautiful old building and just has modern paint on it, right? And then the interiors are very different. And I really liked some of those spaces, just looking at the tiny beds, like these were rooms in a monastery or something, just how like simple they made them. I thought that was really nice. Thinking about like this age and this style of architecture and how fancy things can get on the interiors. And I liked that it was very opposite. And I think that really made the design and the sort of restoration of the other parts really nice.
At an interior level, I there's so many moments. There's another one like in the kitchen. It's a kitchen view, and there's like a 2-person side table and then a couch in the background. And as someone who's engaged in a writing process right now, I've been doing a lot of writing lately. Like there are so many elements to that process where you do it in solitude, you do it in like small groups, one-on-one, peer-to-peer, and then there are like larger efforts. And this project feels like it really honors the process of writing and celebrates the community of writers in a way that's really effective and something that I really appreciated. I think I really appreciate the way Erica articulated how the authenticity of the original architecture is conveyed externally too.
Programmatically, I found this project very interesting. The combination of affordable housing with the transit center and its location.
It had a lot of attributes to it that were addressing sustainability, addressing community need. And then I think of the commercial buildings, I think this might have been one of my favorites in terms of design.
It looks like it is trying to be contextual with some of the other buildings that are red brick in the area there. I think it's contextual and the way that it works with the landscape and the location is all great, and the program's great.
I appreciated the overlap between affordable housing and transportation as an attempt to resolve a problem in the city. Something that I remember hearing for this project was that emissions from the downtown area in Montpelier is, one of the highest in the state or something to that effect. And so having a space that attempts to address that issue with single occupancy vehicles being used, I think is really smart. Pairing that with affordable housing, I think, is an attempt to make those efforts resilient, connecting people to the resource through the program is really smart. The fact that this building is intentionally subdued for the benefit of the historic character of the downtown area, I think makes a lot of sense to me. It's effective because it's not a building that's attempting to be celebrated and is contributing to the celebration of some of the chapels and other buildings around, which I really appreciated.